to London. When you were a Manchester United player, you were involved in some epic games with Arsenal. You remember the Battle of the Buffet, the Battle of Old Trafford.
Yes.
What are your memories of those games now? And you once said the Arsenal fans have an obsession with you. Do you still think that's the case?
Did I say that?
I think so.
It's so long ago. I think Jared was one at the time. So no, it's obviously 20 years ago, and I think in general, if I look back at my time in England, you know, coming back to England and to London, to Arsenal, and I think memories come back of my time there, and of course the two famous games, of infamous games, maybe better said, are famous in that period. But it was a 5-year spell for me, you know, coming over from PSV on a big fee, Mr. Medical, had to do my rehab for another year and eventually, you know, represent United. So many memories, and obviously when you arrive at Arsenal, then of course the games that we faced with United here and at Highbury, better said, and at Old Trafford, of course, are crossing the mind. Yeah.
And at that time, Arsenal were very much contenders and champions of England around that time, and they look like they're becoming that again. What have you made of their transformation?
Oh, yeah, of course, they had a great start, and it's 10 games into the season with 9 wins. So an amazing start for them. The way they're playing, the way Arteta's developing his team, style of play, very, very well done, I think, with a very young side. It's a very promising team, which is a joy to watch. And for us, you know, having a very young team under me as well, you know, it's a fantastic opportunity for us to come here and test ourselves.
Ruud, you talk about playing against Arsenal. You were playing in a team that was challenging for the very biggest trophies, and I guess those 2 days, part of the reason they happened like that was because the tension was so high, the consequences of winning and losing were so high. What was it like to play in those matches at that time?
Yeah, I don't know. It was exactly, you described it well. The pressure is there. Both teams know you face each other, and you're competing for the Premiership, and it's possible that it will be decided over these games. And of course, the penalty miss, and that's why I expect a warm welcome tomorrow. I kept them invincible because of my miss. So in that sense, I was so disappointed after that miss, and didn't react to what happened after the penalty miss because of my incredible disappointment that I didn't bring the win, the 3 points to my team and to the club. So, and of course a year later and all things that happened, you know. But in the end, 20 years later, it's great to look back, and when you meet other players, you're having a laugh about these moments. At the moment, then it was very tense, and now 20 years later, it's fantastic to look back on these moments and reflect on a great time of the Premiership in that period.
I mean, you played at the very highest level. You scored 150 goals for United, but almost it's the one that you miss that people talk about as much as anyone else.
Yeah, of course, you know. Yeah, but that's also part of it. It was such an incident and a big moment. What's happening, you know? It's so it's in everybody's minds, and of course that's why I was explaining on the question before that for me my time in England was 5 years, and I was able to win fantastic titles with United and also on a personal level. So I look back at a fantastic period working under Sir Alex for 5 years with all these fantastic players. So for me, those 2 games are very famous in the country, but for me it's nothing compared to my feeling of the 5 years.
And do you think you will get a nice reception?
I don't think so.
I mean, does that bother you, or is it?
No, it's good. This is football. I mean, when we play at PSV at our home ground, and there are players who played for our rivals, and yeah, they get a nice booing as well. So it's part of the banter in football stadiums, and yeah, I'm looking forward for my team that they come here to the Emirates and face an Arsenal that are currently in an unbelievable form, and for our lads, it's an unbelievable experience, and they want to show their best, and we want to do collectively as a team. We want to show what we are capable of, and yeah, I'm sure it will be a great game tomorrow.
I mean, maybe you're not quite at the same level in terms of finance, but is there a little bit inside you that thinks it's Arsenal?
No, no, not personally. No, not more than any other team, I have to say. But I think for my team, this is for them, this season the biggest test that we can face. I think of any team in Europe, maybe. So it's a Champions League worthy game tomorrow, and for us a massive challenge.
Hi, Ruud, here in the back. As a former striker, how impressed are you with Gabriel Jesus and all these attacking players from Arsenal, Saka, Martinelli? Who impressed you the most?
No, I think the way Arsenal are playing under Arteta, and you saw it last year, what he developed, and with the new signings there, you could see it really taking off for him, and I'm very happy to see that for him, because I admire his playing style, his perseverance after a difficult start, and in that sense it's an example for me as a manager as well that's just started. And but I think the passing game that's in this team, and that's why players like Gabriel Jesus and Martinelli and Saka, but also Nketiah, Marquinhos, Odegaard can flourish, and that's definitely visible.
Perfect, thank you. I'm sorry, and what about Eric Gutierrez? You think he's ready for the World Cup with Mexico, and how pleased are you with his performances?
He's 100% ready for the World Cup. 100%, because Guti is training every day 100%. He's a team player he's one of a kind. He's one in midfield for us. He's done a great job. His attitude, when some games he didn't play, his attitude is always brilliant. So Guti for me is a key player, and he definitely will be for Mexico in the World Cup.
Gracias.
De nada.
Ruud, is het mogelijk dat je je aanpast morgen qua speelstijl? Omdat ook Jared hier zit, nou, een beetje, meestal zit dan wel een speler die gaat spelen.
Is it okay if he answers in
Yeah, no
English?
problem. Ruud, is it possible that you change your team, your playing style a little bit?
The playing style or the formation?
Formation in a 3-5-2 or 5-3-2?
Yes.
Jared sitting here?
No, not.
Adapting to the opponent?
Yeah, it's possible. It is possible, not because Jared is here. Jared can play in a 4 at the back and in a 5 at the back. We haven't played 5 at the back so far, but of course Arsenal is an opponent where you have to analyze and prevent them from doing what they're good at, and see what's the best way for that.
Thank you.
Jeroen.
Is it also you played Rangers, and it was a test on Champions League level, and it was not very successful. The team made an evolution the last few weeks and last months.
Mm-hmm.
Are you curious to see how far the team is, and
Yeah.
make another test on that level?
No, definitely. I think the away game at Ibrox was one of the better games in that period, and a week later, a bad spell in the second half that cost us the game. And of course it's a while ago. Many games are in between. We developed, but Arsenal is on a different level at this moment. Top of the Premiership, top of the Europa League group stage. They're in a tremendous form, and a run of games that they're unbeaten. So, yeah, for us it's the biggest one of the season.
We've seen Ajax playing against the number 1 of Italy. It was a big gap. There's a big gap between the leagues. Is that also to be afraid for?
No, I think over the last years the Dutch football is growing. We've seen Ajax playing fantastic games in the Champions League on the highest level, surviving group stages, Feyenoord in the Conference League final. Also doing great in big games in Europe. So I think, of course, he can get beaten by a big club any certain time. But I think overall, over the last years, there's a development in Dutch football ongoing. That's what you also see in the list, in the coëfficiëntenlijst, whatever that translation may be, FIFA ranking. So in that sense, we want to show ourselves and see what we're capable of. Obviously, this time we're not favorites.
Luc, Nolly, and Mauro are with the team. How important is that, and what can they do? Can they be on the bench? Are they just here to train and be
No, it's great that they're here. All the players that I took are ready to make minutes. If not, I wouldn't have taken them. Players that can't play minutes, they are in Eindhoven working on their recovery. So in that sense, of course, for them three, it's the first time they're back after a long time. So for them, it's good to build up, making minutes, and that's what the plan is for tomorrow, and see if the game is needed in that sense.
De Jong, of course, he's a week or 7 or 8, he's out. So it's really doubtful if he can start, I think.
Correct.
Well, normally he will be in the bench, but
correct.
He will be on the bench. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that also count for the other players, or?
Yeah, I think it's logical that those 3 players are on the bench because they are coming back from long injuries. So then it's normal that players are not starting and looking to make game minutes.
Four wins in a row. That gives some trust to go here. I think when it was 4 weeks ago, maybe it was different because you're now further in the process, as they say, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see. I think tomorrow is a game on its own. Of course, the 4 wins that does something to the team and the confidence and the belief and the road we're on that we want to continue. But in the end, it's a game on its own, and it starts at 0-0 and everything to play for, and that's the same for tomorrow. And we are focused on doing that.
Thank you. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you all.
Any more questions?
Ruud, we asked Mikel this afternoon about Cody. It's pretty obvious a number of Premier League clubs would like to sign him. I mean, what is your message to those clubs about Cody coming to the Premier League?
I think there's not only Premier League clubs after him. Of course, with the quality he's showing and the form he's having over the last 3-4 months during this season is exceptional. His stats, his assists and goals that he's involved in, of course, draws the attention of the best clubs in European football. And the good thing about him is, with on his age, 23 years old, he's purely focused on his development, becoming a better player, doing well, captaining PSV, giving the club the best he can, focusing on a great World Cup, where he's now also playing games in the national team under Van Gaal. So for him, he's in a fantastic moment, and he wants to continue that. And of course, when the time comes, he will make decisions when necessary.
Right. Thank you.
Cheers.
You're related to another family.
Translation.